Hello there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a bright and sunshiny day. Hey, excuse me. If you go like this, you can flat. That's what I was told. They even have something for that. I'm like, how is that going to flatten it? Now, if you kept your hands like a strap, around your head, there's something around your, like, over here, I don't know, permanently. Maybe eventually it will, Do I sound like a dude? Is that better? A little better. Our, our Father in the heavens, let your name be sanctified. Let your kingdom come. Let your will take place, as in heaven, also on earth. Give us today our bread for this day, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And do not bring us into temptation, but deliver us from the wicked one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, Jehovah, for another beautiful day and your beautiful earth. And thank you for allowing us to speak up today. And thank you for what you did for us in the past, present, and what you will do for us in the future. Thank you for what you did for us. I really appreciate it. Joe, please look after Tate, Cindy Lee, King Charles, Chad Griffith, Joe Biden, Michael Bolton, Rick Flair. All have cancers, different stages, different kinds. Please cure them and give them physical and mental strength to get through it. Celine Dion has stiff person syndrome. Please take away her seizures and all the pain she's going through. Sarah and Jess have multiple ailments between them both. Please cure them and take them away. Take away their ailments. For instance, both of them have severe migraines. Jess has POTS, and several other things. Just get them healthy. And continue to help Jess's mama and bless both sides of the family. And continue to help Nessa, Christina Anderson, everybody that was affected, involved, or lost their lives in the floods in Texas. Jenny, Tiffany, Robin, Taylor, Miss Diana daughters, Arnie, Vicky and family, Carol and mom. They weren't involved in the floods. They're just on my list. In Jesus' name, amen. Sorry. Today's going to be a review day, but only on Genesis, because that's a lot to read. Okay, let's just do daily text first. Sorry, I'm still a little tired. Give me a second and we'll start. Okay. Thursday, July 10th, daily text. Let your petitions be made known to God. Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious over anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication along with thanksgiving. Let your petition be known to God. Hold on, I read that wrong. Let your petitions be made known to God. We can build up our endurance by frequently and earnestly sharing our concerns with Jehovah. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17 reads, simple, pray constantly. Perhaps you are not facing a severe trial right now. Even so, do you seek Jehovah's guidance whenever you feel upset, confused, or overwhelmed? If you regularly turn to our God for help with your day-to-day challenges now, you will not hesitate to do so when you face bigger challenges in the future. You will then be confident that He knows precisely when and how to act in your behalf. Psalms chapter 27, verses 1. Jehovah is my light and my salvation. Whom should I fear? Jehovah is the stronghold of my life. Whom should I dread? Verse 3 reads, though an army should set up camp against me, my heart will not fear. Though war should break out against me, even then I will remain confident. We are more likely to endure the future great tribulation if we endure trials today. Romans chapter 5, verse 3 reads, not only that, but let us rejoice while in tribulation, since we know that tribulation produces endurance. Why can we say that? My brothers have found that each test of faith that they endured helped them withstand the next challenge. Endurance refined them, strengthening their faith that Jehovah is ready and willing to help. Faith, in turn, helped them endure the next trial. James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Consider it all joy, my brothers, when you meet with various trials, knowing as you do that this tested quality of your life produces endurance. But let endurance complete its work, so that you may be complete and sound in all aspects, not lacking in anything. We're going to get through as much as the review today. I might do the rest of the review tomorrow. Okay, so let me put, because, oh, I didn't even write it all. I didn't write out all the passages here. I only wrote down the Genesis, okay? Because that's where it's mainly coming from. I have to go potty. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's go to lessons from the Bible. What I'll do is I'll tell you what the story was and stuff like that, and then I'll read Genesis and stuff like that. So we have 7 through 13 to do. As you can see in the description, I only put down the Genesis, okay? But if you want the link to read the other one, well, I'll verbally say the other ones. All right, this one is the town of Babel, okay? Well, right here. This is like after the flood, Noah's sons and their wives, many children, the families grew and they began to spread to different parts of the earth. But some people said, no, let's stay here and build a city here. And we'll build a tower, the Tower of Babel. And they disobeyed Jehovah. So Jehovah made them, everybody speaking different languages. So they would have to spread all over the earth, because that's what they were told to do. Yes. Yeah, so he stopped all the disobeying by making them speak different languages. So they had to spread, then they got spread all over the earth. So in this one, we read Genesis chapter 11, verse 1 through 9. And I'm going to always, if it's long, I'm going to have the machine do it. They read it faster and better.
Chapter 11. Now all the earth continued to be of one language and of one set of words. As they traveled eastward, they discovered a valley plain in the land of Shinar, and they began dwelling there. Then they said to one another,
"Come, let us make bricks and bake them with fire."
So they used bricks instead of stone, and bitumen as mortar. They now said,
"Come, let us build a city for ourselves, and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a celebrated name for ourselves, so that we will not be scattered over the entire face of the earth."
Then Jehovah went down to see the city and the tower that the sons of men had built. Jehovah then said, "Look, they are one people with one language, and this is what they have started to do. Now there is nothing that they may have in mind to do that will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language, in order that they may not understand one another's language." So Jehovah scattered them from there over the entire face of the earth, and they gradually left off building the city. That is why it was named Babel, because there Jehovah confused the language of all the earth, and Jehovah scattered them from there over the entire face of the earth.
Yes. So always do what Jehovah wants you to do. It's easy as that. It's just like when you had to obey your parents. Do what you're told. The next one is Abraham and Sarah obeyed. Hold on. Abraham was told by Jehovah to leave his home. Good girl. Stop scratching. Okay, sorry. Yeah, and the promise was, and they'll become a large nation. And Abraham didn't know where Jehovah was sending them, but trusted him, you know. Well, yeah, so Abraham, Sarah, his father Terah, and nephew Lot packed their things and obediently began the long trip. And Abraham was 75 years old. The land of Canaan. Oh my gosh. It's only 7:30. And all the land that he's seen around him, Abraham, was going to be his. the questions was, what did Jehovah ask Abraham to do? To travel to a new place. And he'll become many nations. What did Jehovah promise Abraham? That will become many nations. And this is Genesis chapter 11, verse 29 through chapter 12, verse 9. So we'll just read that. Oh, let's go back to the other one. Oh no, there was no other ones. Never mind. I'll verbally tell you the other passages, okay? But we're just going to read the Genesis. 29 through 9. Oh, no, it says 29.
Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah then took Abram his son, and Lot his grandson, the son of Haran, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, the wife of Abram his son, and they went with him out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. In time they came to Haran and began dwelling there. The days of Terah were 205 years. Then Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. And Jehovah said to Abram, "Go out from your land, and away from your relatives, and from the house of your father, to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you will become a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who calls down evil on you. And all the families of the ground will certainly be blessed by means of you." So Abram went, just as Jehovah had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai, and Lot the son of his brother, and all the goods that they had accumulated, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they reached the land of Canaan, Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of Shechem, near the big trees of Moreh. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. Jehovah then appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I am going to give this land." So he built an altar there to Jehovah, who had appeared to him. Later he moved from there to the mountainous region east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to Jehovah, and began to call on the name of Jehovah. Afterward, Abram broke camp and journeyed toward the Negeb, moving his camp from one place to another.
Okay. Is that it? Yep, that's it of Genesis, but the other passages are listened to carefully now. Alright, Acts chapter 7 verses 2 through 4. Galatians chapter 3 verse 6. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 8. So you can write those down. Here. There you go. You can pause it here and then write it down. Yeah, so I think that's a smart thing for me to do. A Son at Last, chapter 9. Well, the angels went to Abraham telling him that his wife Sarah will bear a child, a son. Sarah laughed because of how old they were. And yeah, so how did Job protect Isaac? Well, let's go find out. how did Jehovah protect Isaac? He had, Abraham took on someone else as a wife so they could bear a child for Sarah. Abraham will have a child, and once Sarah had a child, um, Abraham's other child was making fun of him, mocking him and everything. So she says, have them go away. And Jehovah says, listen to what she says, because your son, Isaac, will become many nations, and so will the other kid. So everything will be fine. So yeah. So here's the screenshot of the passages. So you can pause it and write them down. It's a lot of Genesis, only one Hebrew. And that's Hebrews chapter 11, verse 11. Okay. So let's start reading this. I wasn't going to do this. I was going to skip the review. But if it's another long chapter, I think I might do 2 of them, then do a review. Do 2 and do a review. Or do half of it and have a review. I think that's that way. Or this is okay too. So, what did I click on? Okay. Now Abram's wife Sarai had born him no children, but she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. So Sarai asked to Abram, please now, Jehovah has prevented me from bearing children. Please have relations with my servant. Perhaps I can have children by means of her. So Abram listened to what Sarai said. After Abram had lived for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarai took her Egyptian servant Hagar and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. So he had relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Verses 15 and 16 reads, so Hagar bore to Abram a son, and Abram named his son, who Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. In chapter 17, verses 25 through 27, and Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he had the flesh of his foreskins circumcised. Ugh. On that very day, Abram was circumcised, and also his son Ishmael. All the men of his household, anyone born in the house, and anyone purchased with money from a foreigner, were also circumcised with them. Chapter 18, verses 1 through 15.
Afterward, Jehovah appeared to him among the big trees of Mamre, while he was sitting at the entrance of the tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing some distance from him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. Then he said,
Jehovah, if I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass by your servant. Please let a little water be brought and have your feet washed. Then recline under the tree. Seeing that you have come here to your servant, let me bring a piece of bread so that you may refresh yourselves. Then you may go on your way.
At this they said,
All right, you may do as you have spoken.
So Abraham hurried to the tent to Sarah and said,
Quick, get 3 measures of fine flour, knead the dough, and make loaves of bread.
Next, Abraham ran to the herd and chose a tender and good young bull. He gave it to the attendant, who hurried to prepare it. He then took butter and milk and the young bull that he had prepared and set the food before them. Then he stood by them under the tree as they were eating. They said to him,
"Where is your wife, Sarah?"
He replied,
Here, in the tent.
So one of them continued,
"I will surely return to you next year at this time, and look, your wife Sarah will have a son."
Now Sarah was listening at the tent entrance, which was behind the man. Abraham and Sarah were old, being advanced in years. Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah began to laugh to herself, saying,
After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I really have this pleasure?
Then Jehovah said to Abraham,
Why did Sarah laugh and say, "Am I really going to give birth, even though I am old? Is anything too extraordinary for Jehovah? I will return to you next year at this appointed time, and Sarah will have a son."
But Sarah denied it, saying,
I did not laugh.
for she was afraid. At this he said,
Yes, you did laugh.
When the men got up to leave and looked down toward Sodom, Abraham was walking with them to escort them. Jehovah said,
Oh, sorry about that. It was only supposed to be up to 15. Okay. Chapter 21, 1 through 14.
Jehovah turned his attention to Sarah, just as he had said, and Jehovah did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah became pregnant, and then bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time God had promised him. Abraham named his newborn son, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him.
Wow.
Then Sarah said,
God has brought me laughter. Everybody hearing of it will laugh with me.
and she added,
Who would have said to Abraham, Sarah will certainly nurse children, yet I have given birth to a son for him in his old age.
Now the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham prepared a big feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah kept noticing that the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, was mocking Isaac. So she said to Abraham,
Drive out this slave girl and her son, for the son of this slave girl is not going to be an heir along with my son, with Isaac.
But what she said about his son was very displeasing to Abraham. Then God said to Abraham, Do not be displeased by what Sarah is saying to you about the boy and about your slave girl. Listen to her, for what will be called your offspring will be through Isaac. As for the son of the slave girl, I will also make a nation out of him, because he is your offspring. So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin bottle of water and gave it to Hagar. He set these on her shoulder and then sent her away along with the boy. So she departed and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba.
Yes. Oh, I feel so bad for her. But, you know, when you let your son make fun of the other one, I'm like, why? Lesson 10. Remember the wife of Lot. Okay, so they're going to destroy a town. So Lot's like, yeah, can't we go to that town? It's small. And then Jehovah says, hurry up and go, go, go. Because I can't do nothing until you leave. And do not look back. Lot's wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. So. Well, he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of all the sin and everything like that in there, I believe. Let me look back on it. Yeah, they were in bad, so he destroyed them. And, well, yeah, here's the next question. Why did Lot's wife turn into a pillar of salt? Because she disobeyed Jehovah and looked back. I'm like, just listen to Jehovah. Oh, did I show you the last one? Oh yeah, I did. I showed it to you at the beginning, right? Well, I'll show it to you in. This is chapter 9. This is chapter 9's passages. I'm not sure if I did show them at the beginning. I think I did. All right. And now, hold on. It's not behaving. There we go. And this one's. This is chapter 10. Okay. You can pause it and write it down or screenshot it. Okay. So now we'll listen to Genesis chapter 13, 1 through 13.
Abram then went up out of Egypt to the Negev, he and his wife and all that he had, together with Lot. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. He camped in one place after another, as he traveled from the Negev to Bethel, until he arrived at the place where his tent had been, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had previously built an altar. There Abram called on the name of Jehovah. Now Lot, who was traveling with Abram, also owned sheep, cattle, and tents. So the land did not allow for all of them to stay in the same place. Their goods had become so many that they could no longer dwell together. As a result, a quarrel arose between the herders of Abram's livestock and the herders of Lot's livestock. At that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites were dwelling in the land. So Abram said to Lot,
Please, there should be no quarreling between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land available to you? Please separate from me. If you go to the left, then I will go to the right. But if you go to the right, then I will go to the left.
So Lot raised his eyes and saw that the whole district of the Jordan was a well-watered region, before Jehovah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Jehovah, like the land of Egypt, as far as Zoar. Then Lot chose for himself the whole district of the Jordan, and Lot moved his camp to the east. So they separated from each other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, but Lot lived among the cities of the district. Finally, he set up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, gross sinners against Jehovah.
Yep. Chapter 19, verses 1 through 26. So this is not that bad, right? Yeah, I was gonna not do it. I mean, well, I said I was gonna do it, so I'm gonna keep my word.
The two angels arrived at Sodom by evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them, and bowed down with his face to the earth. And he said,
Please, my lords, turn aside, please, into the house of your servant, and stay overnight, and have your feet washed. Then you may get up early and travel on your way.
To this they said,
No, we will stay overnight in the public square.
but he was so insistent with them that they went with him to his house. Then he made a feast for them, and he baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they could lie down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom from boy to old man, all of them, surrounded the house in one mob. And they kept calling out to Lot and saying to him,
Where are the men who came into you tonight? Bring them out to us, so that we may have sex with them.
Then Lot went out to them to the doorway, and he shut the door behind him. He said,
Please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. Please, here I have 2 daughters who have never had sexual relations with a man. Please let me bring them out to you, for you to do to them whatever seems good to you. But do not do anything to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof.
At this they said,
Stand back.
and they added,
This lone foreigner came to live here, and yet he dares to judge us. Now we are going to do worse to you than to them.
and they crowded in on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. So the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them, and they shut the door. But they struck the men who were at the entrance of the house with blindness, from the least to the greatest, so that they wore themselves out trying to find the doorway. Then the men said to Lot,
Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and all your people in the city. Bring out of this place.
For we are going to destroy this place, because the outcry against him has indeed grown great before Jehovah, so that Jehovah sent us to destroy the city.
So Lot went out and began to speak to his sons-in-law, who were to marry his daughters. And he kept saying,
Get up, get out of this place, because Jehovah will destroy the city.
But to his sons-in-law, he seemed to be joking. As dawn was breaking, the angels became urgent with Lot, saying,
Get up. Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here with you, so that you will not be swept away in the error of the city.
When he kept lingering, then because of Jehovah's compassion for him, the men seized hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they brought him out and stationed him outside the city. As soon as they had brought them to the outskirts, he said,
Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, and do not stand still in any part of the district. Escape to the mountainous regions so that you may not be swept away.
Then Lot said to them,
Not there, please, Jehovah. Please now, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you are showing great kindness to me by preserving me alive. But I am not able to flee to the mountainous region, because I am afraid that disaster may overtake me, and I will die. Please now, this town is nearby, and I can flee there. It is only a small place. May I please escape there? It is only a small place. Then I will survive.
I keep forgetting what
so
number.
he said to him,
Number 6.
Very well. I will also show you consideration by not overthrowing the town you speak of. Hurry, escape there, because I cannot do anything until you arrive there.
That is why he named the town Zoar. The sun had risen over the land when Lot arrived at Zoar. Then Jehovah made it rain sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. It came from Jehovah, from the heavens. So he overthrew these cities, yes, the entire district, including all the inhabitants of the cities and the plants of the ground. But Lot's wife, who was behind him, began to look back, and she became a pillar of salt.
He said not to look back, but he did. She did. I can't remember. So here is the rest of them passages, so you can pause it here to write them down. Okay. I'll live in a test of faith. Jehovah said to Abraham, take your son Isaac, and offer him as a sacrifice. So even though Abraham loved his son, he listened to Jehovah. So they went to the area where they were about to do it, and he was about to sacrifice him, and Jehovah said, Abraham, Abraham. He goes, here I am. And he says, do not hurt the boy, for I know you. Hold on. He was willing to sacrifice his son, but he saw the ram and sacrificed that instead. How did Abraham prove that he trusted in Jehovah? He was going to sacrifice his son that he asked him to, but Jehovah said not to. That was a test of faith. So, what did Jehovah promise Abraham? Let's see. Let's go back up. Yeah, Abraham did what he was supposed to do, that Jehovah wanted him to do. He will bless him and will multiply his children or offspring. Yes. This meant that Jehovah would bless all good people through Abraham's family. That's awesome. Here is the passages. So you can screenshot it or you can write them down. You can pause right now to do it. So this is Genesis chapter 22, 1 through 18.
Now after this, the true God put Abraham to the test, and he said to him, Abraham, to which he replied,
Here I am.
Then he said, Take, please, your son, your only son whom you so love, Isaac, and travel to the land of Moriah, and offer him up there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will designate to you. So Abraham got up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his servants along with him and his son Isaac. He split the wood for the burnt offering, and then he rose and traveled to the place that the true God indicated to him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from a distance. Abraham now said to his servants,
You stay here with the donkey, but the boy and I will go over there and worship and return to you.
So Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and put it on his son Isaac. Then he took in his hands the fire and the knife, and the 2 of them walked on together. Then Isaac said to his father Abraham,
My father.
He replied,
Yes, my son.
So he continued,
Here are the fire and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering?
To this Abraham said,
God himself will provide the sheep for the burnt offering, my son.
And both of them walked on together. Finally, they reached the place that the true God had indicated to him, and Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac hand and foot and put him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. But Jehovah's angel called to him from the heavens and said,
Abraham, Abraham.
To which he answered,
Here I am.
Then he said,
Yep, I thought so. I knew that was coming.
Do not harm the boy, and do not do anything at all to him. For now I do know that you are God-fearing, because you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me.
At that Abraham looked up, and there just beyond him was a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place Jehovah-Jireh. This is why it is still said today, In the mountain of Jehovah it will be provided. And Jehovah's angel called to Abraham a second time from the heavens, saying,
By myself I swear, declares Jehovah, that because you have done this, and you have not withheld your son, your only one, I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring like the stars of the heavens, and like the grains of sand on the seashore. And your offspring will take possession of the gate of his enemies. And by means of your offspring, all nations of the earth will obtain a blessing for themselves, because you have listened to my voice.
After that, Abraham returned to his servants, and they
I
got
think
up
that's it.
and
So, if I'm wrong, I'll go back and finish it. No, I was right. So, once again, these are the passages. Hang on. 12. Jacob got the inheritance. Oh, Jacob and Esau. Okay, let's see. The older boy was called Esau. The younger one was called Jacob. Esau loved being outdoors, but yet Jacob liked to stay home. See, in those days, the oldest one got given most of the land and money after his father died. So, so. See, Esau did not care much about his inheritance, and he gave up his birthright for just a bowl of soup. I'm like, so he didn't get the blessing, but he wanted the blessing. But it was too late because Jacob got it. So, what kind of person was Esau? He was an outdoors person. Jacob was a homebody. Why did Jacob receive the blessing instead of Esau? Because his mother told him to trick his father into getting it. So, but Esau didn't deserve it because he gave it up for a bowl of soup. So, let me go potty. I'll be right back. Okay. So, we're going to read Genesis chapter 25, 20 through 34.
Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean. And Isaac kept pleading with Jehovah regarding his wife because she was barren. So Jehovah responded to his plea, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. And the sons within her began to struggle with each other, so that she said,
"If this is the way it is, why should I go on living?"
So she inquired of Jehovah, and Jehovah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be separated from within you. And the one nation will be stronger than the other nation, and the older will serve the younger. When the time came for her to give birth, look, twins were in her womb. Then the first came out, red all over, and was like a garment of hair. So they named him Esau. After that his brother came out, and his hand was holding onto the heel of Esau. So he named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she gave birth to them. As the boys got bigger, Esau became a skilled hunter, a man of the field. But Jacob was a blameless man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because it meant game in his mouth, whereas Rebekah loved Jacob. On one occasion, Jacob was boiling some stew when Esau returned from the field exhausted. So Esau said to Jacob,
"Quick, please, give me some of the red stew that you have there, for I am exhausted."
That is why his name was Edom. To this Jacob said,
First, sell me your right as firstborn.
and Esau continued,
"Here I am about to die. What use is a birthright to me?"
and Jacob added,
Swear to me first.
So he swore to him, and sold his right as firstborn to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and he got up and went away. Thus Esau despised the birthright.
Yep. Chapter 7, verse 1 through chapter 28, verse 5.
Now when Isaac was old, and his eyes were too weak to see, he called Esau his older son to him, and said,
My son.
He replied,
"Here I am."
and he went on to say,
I have now grown old. I do not know the day of my death. So at this time take, please, your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt some wild game for me. Then make the kind of tasty dish that I am fond of, and bring it to me. Then I will eat it, so that I may bless you before I die.
However, Rebekah was listening while Isaac spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went out into the field to hunt game and to bring it in. And Rebekah said to Jacob her son,
I just heard your father speaking to your brother Esau, saying, Bring me some game and make me a tasty dish. Then let me eat so that I may bless you before Jehovah before my death. And now, my son, listen carefully and do what I am instructing you. Go please to the herd and get me 2 of the best young goats from there, so that I may prepare from them a tasty dish for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, in order that he may bless you before his death.
Jacob said to his mother Rebekah,
But Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and my skin is smooth. What if my father feels me? Then I will certainly appear to be mocking him, and I will bring upon myself a curse rather than a blessing.
At this, his mother said to him,
Upon me be the curse meant for you, my son. Just do as I say and go. Get them for me.
So he went and got them and brought them to his mother. And his mother made a tasty dish, just the way his father liked it. After that, Rebekah took her oldest son Esau's finest garments, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son Jacob. She also put the skins of the young goats on his hands and on the hairless part of his neck. Then she handed the tasty dish and the bread that she had made to her son Jacob. He went in to his father and said,
My father.
to which he said,
Here I am. Who are you, my son?
Jacob said to his father,
I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done just as you told me. Sit up, please, and eat some of my game, so that you may bless me.
At that, Isaac said to his son,
How were you so quick in finding it, my son?
He replied,
Because Jehovah your God brought it to me.
Then Isaac said to Jacob,
Come near, please, that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not.
So Jacob came near to his father Isaac, and he felt him, after which he said,
The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau.
He did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy, like the hands of his brother Esau. So he blessed him. After that he asked,
Are you really my son Esau?
to which he replied,
I am.
Then he said,
Bring me some of the wild game for me to eat, my son. Then I will bless you.
With that he brought it to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. Then Isaac his father said to him,
Come near, please, and kiss me, my son.
So he came near and kissed him, and he could smell the scent of his garments. Then he blessed him and said,
See, the scent of my son is like the scent of the field that Jehovah has blessed. May the true God give you the dews of the heavens, and the fertile soils of the earth, and an abundance of grain and new wine. Let peoples serve you, and let nations bow low to you. Be master over your brothers, and let the sons of your mother bow low to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you.
Now Isaac had just finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had barely left the presence of his father Isaac, when his brother Esau came back from his hunting. He too prepared a tasty dish and brought it to his father. And he said to his father,
Let my father get up and eat some of his son's game, in order that you may bless me.
At this his father Isaac said to him,
Who are you?
to which he said,
I am your son, your firstborn,
No.
Esau.
And Isaac began to tremble violently. So he said,
Who was it then who hunted for game and brought it to me? I already ate it before you arrived, and I blessed him, and he will surely be blessed.
On hearing his father's words, Esau began to cry out in an extremely loud and bitter manner, and to say to his father,
Bless me. Yes, me too, my father.
but he said,
Your brother came deceitfully, so that he might get the blessing meant for you.
At this he said,
Is he not rightly named Jacob, that he might supplant me these 2 times? My birthright he has already taken, and now he has taken my blessing.
Then he added,
Have you not reserved a blessing for me?
but Isaac answered Esau,
Here I have appointed him master over you, and I have given him all his brothers as servants, and I have bestowed grain and new wine for his support. What is left that I can do for you, my son?
Esau said to his father,
Is there just one blessing that you have, my father? Bless me. Yes, me too, my father.
With that Esau cried loudly and burst into tears. So his father Isaac answered him,
See, away from the fertile soils of the earth your dwelling will be, and away from the dew of the heavens above. And by your sword you will live, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will indeed break his yoke off your neck.
However, Esau harbored animosity against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. And Esau kept saying in his heart,
The days of mourning for my father are getting closer. After that, I am going to kill Jacob, my brother.
When the words of her older son Esau were told to Rebekah, she at once sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him,
Look, your brother Esau is planning to take revenge by killing you. Now, my son, do as I say. Get up and run away to my brother Laban at Haran. Dwell with him for a while until your brother's rage calms down, until your brother's anger toward you subsides and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send for you from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day?
After that, Rebekah kept saying to Isaac,
I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob ever takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these daughters of the land, what good is my life?
Chapter 28. So Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and commanded him, saying,
You must not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Go away to Paddan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and from there take for yourself a wife from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. God Almighty will bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, and you will certainly become a congregation of peoples. And he will give to you the blessing of Abraham, to you and to your offspring with you, so that you may take possession of the land where you have been living as a foreigner, which God has given to Abraham.
So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he departed for Paddan Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau.
Okay. And once again, here's the passages. You can, if it was too short, you can go back to it and pause it. So here's the last one, chapter 13. Jacob and Esau make peace. Yeah. So Jacob received a blessing because an angel came down, started wrestling with him, and dislocated his hip, and the angel said, let me go. And Jacob said, not until you bless me. And they blessed him. He was called Israel after that. How did he make peace with his brother? He bowed down 7 times before his brother. And they ran to each other and hugged, kissed, and cried. Oh, well. So this is all Genesis. So it's quite a few of them. Let me see if there's any like very long. That one and that one. So there's only a couple that's really long. So this is Genesis chapter 28, verse 13 and 14 and 15. And look, there was Jehovah stationed above it. And he said, I am Jehovah, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you are lying, to you I am going to give it to your offspring. And your offspring will certainly become like the dust particles of the earth, and you will spread abroad to the west and to the east, and to the north and to the south. And by means of you, and by means of your offspring, all the families of the grounds will certainly be blessed. I am with you, and I will safeguard you wherever you go, and I will return you to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. And chapter 31, verse 3 reads, Finally, Jehovah said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and your relatives, and I will continue with you. 17 and 18 reads, Then Jacob got up and lifted his children and his wives on the camels, and he began driving all his herd and all the goods that he had accumulated, the livestock in his possessions that he had accumulated in Paddan-aram, to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. Chapter 32, 1 through 29.
Jacob then went on his way, and the angels of God met up with him. As soon as he saw them, Jacob said,
This is the camp of God.
So he named that place Mahanaim. Then Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the territory of Edom, and he commanded them,
This is what you will say to my lord, to Esau. This is what your servant Jacob says. I have resided with Laban for a long time until now, and I have acquired bulls, donkeys, sheep, and male and female servants, and I send this message to inform my lord, in order to find favor in your eyes.
In time the messengers returned to Jacob, saying,
We met your brother Esau, and he is now on his way to meet you, and there are 400 men with him.
And Jacob became very frightened and anxious. So he divided the people who were with him, as well as the flocks, the cattle, and the camels, into 2 camps. He said,
If Esau attacks the one camp, then the other camp will be able to escape.
After that, Jacob said,
O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Jehovah, you who are saying to me, Return to your land and to your relatives, and I will deal well with you. I am unworthy of all the loyal love and of all the faithfulness that you have shown toward your servant. For with only my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. Save me, I pray you, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid of him, that he may come and attack me, as well as the mothers and their children. And you have said, I will certainly deal well with you, and I will make your offspring like the grains of sand of the sea, which are too numerous to count.
and he spent the night there. Then he took some of his possessions as a gift for Esau his brother, 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 female sheep, 20 rams, 30 camels nursing their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 full-grown male donkeys. He handed them over to his servants. One drove after another. And he said to his servants,
Cross over ahead of me, and you are to set a space between one drove and the next.
He also commanded the first one,
In case Esau my brother should meet you and ask, To whom do you belong? And where are you going? And to whom do these ahead of you belong? Then you should say, To your servant Jacob. It is a gift sent to my lord, to Esau. And look, he himself is also behind us.
and he commanded also the second, the third, and all those following the droves.
According to this word, you are to speak to Esau when you meet him. And you should also say, Here is your servant Jacob behind us.
For he said to himself,
If I appease him by sending a gift ahead of me, then afterward when I see him,
he may give me a kindly reception.
So the gift crossed over ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. Later during that night, he rose and took his 2 wives and his 2 female servants and his 11 young sons and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. So he took them and brought them across the stream, and he brought over everything else he had. Finally, Jacob was left by himself. Then a man began to wrestle with him until the dawn broke. When he saw that he had not prevailed over him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated during his wrestling with him. After that he said,
Let me go, for the dawn is breaking.
To this he said,
I am not going to let you go until you bless me.
So he said to him,
What is your name?
To which he said,
Jacob.
Then he said,
Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have contended with God and with men, and you have at last prevailed.
In turn Jacob inquired,
Tell me, please, your name.
However he said,
Why is it that you ask my name?
With that he blessed him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said,
I have seen God face to face, yet my life was preserved.
And the sun rose upon him as soon as he passed by Penuel, but he was limping because of his hip. That is why to this day the sons of Israel are not accustomed to eat the thigh sinew, which is on the socket of the hip joint, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip joint by the thigh sinew. Chapter 33. Now,
No, not chapter 33. Well, yeah. Yeah, chapter 33, 1 through 18. Sorry.
Now Jacob raised his eyes and saw Esau coming, and 400 men were with him. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 female servants. He put the female servants and their children in front, Leah and her children after them, and Rachel and Joseph behind them. Then he himself went ahead of them, and bowed down to the earth 7 times as he came near to his brother. But Esau ran to meet him, and he embraced him and kissed him, and they burst into tears. When he raised his eyes and saw the women and the children, he said,
Who are these with you?
To which he said,
The children with whom God has favored your servant.
At that the female servants came forward with their children and bowed down. And Leah too came forward with her children, and they bowed down. Then Joseph came forward with Rachel, and they bowed down. Esau said,
What is the purpose of all this camp of travelers that I have met?
He replied,
In order to find favor in the eyes of my Lord.
Then Esau said,
I have a great many possessions, my brother. Keep what is yours.
However, Jacob said,
No, please. If I have found favor in your eyes, you must take my gift from my hand, because I brought it so that I could see your face. And I have seen your face, as though seeing God's face, in that you received me with pleasure. Take, please, the gift conveying my blessing that was brought to you. For God has favored me, and I have everything I need.
and he continued to urge him, so that he took it. Later Esau said,
Let us move out and go, and let me go in advance of you.
But he said to him,
My Lord is aware that the children are delicate, and that in my care are sheep and cattle nursing their young. If they are driven too quickly for one day, then the whole flock will die. Let my Lord, please, go on ahead of his servant, But I will continue the journey more slowly, at the pace of my livestock and of the children, until I come to my lord at Seir.
Then Esau said,
Please, let me leave some of my people with you.
To this he said,
Why do this? Just let me find favor in the eyes of my lord.
So that day Esau went on his way back to Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and he built a house for himself, and he made shelters for his herd. That was why he named the place Succoth. After journeying from Paddan Aram, Jacob arrived safely at the city of Shechem in the land of Canaan, and he set up his camp near the city. Then he acquired a portion of the field where he...
Now chapter 35, 23 through 26. The sons of Leah were Jacob's firstborn, Reuben, then Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's servant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's servant, were Gad and Asher. These are Jacob's sons who were born to him in Paddan Aram. So that is it for today. Here's the passages. You can screenshot it and write it down. So I love you guys. Love. Don't judge. Until next time, I judge. Peace out.